sometimes he'd go to the bank, but a lot of times because, he'd go home and then he'd go to the bank in the morning. And he lived 20 miles, 30 miles from where this store was in West Orlando. And so people started just noticing at night he leaves, he closes at, 10 o'clock.
Yep.
He's got a bag in his hand. In his hand. And then someone knew someone like, that's cash. That's cash.
Yep.
That's cash. And then it got to like, he must have this cash. He had a townhouse. He must have this cash. So these guys said, all right, let's follow him. And they set it up. So they pre-followed him before, just
homework.
To know where he lives, know the route he takes. And the night that they pulled off the home invasion, they had people placed already like at his house. And they followed him, and they were talking on cell phones. And then sure enough, he comes out, boom, pistol whip him right away. Take him in the house with gunpoint. His wife's in there. His kids are in there. I don't know how much money he had on him personally that night, a couple $1,000s, but they said, take us. We know you have money in here. And sure enough, in like a shoebox in the top of the closet, I forget the figures, like 10 or 15 grand. I mean, it's a good amount of cash, and that's a armed home invasion. And so we ended up catching those guys, but again, not random.
No,
not random. No. Targeted him. Yeah. Knew he had cash in the house.
They're not the random. The only time you have random, it's not even random. I think they just we've seen it before where they actually hit the wrong house. They think that they're going to the house where the drugs are or whatever, and it's the wrong house.
We've seen that before.
You get there,
again,
like, this
not random. It's just a mistake. Yeah. They hit the wrong house.
That's got to suck.
You got any more or no?
I do. I have one more.
Go for it.
Are you going to pay attention to this one now?
No, it's you that doesn't pay attention.
I was listening the whole time.
Yeah, okay.
All right, so help me with this name. Is it CC Sabathia? Sabathia, right?
Yeah, Sabathia.
Okay.
Great
so
pitcher.
He's a New York Yankee. But back in the day...
people text me all the time. You need to talk. I've told you this before. Even if you don't know what the hell you're talking about, have a little confidence like you do. People text me all the time, and they're like, Beef doesn't even know sports. He doesn't know this guy.
No, I don't know why.
That's why you're my
really?
partner, because it's a good yin and yang type thing. I don't want
they text me and tell me.
I don't want to know it because they're afraid. I don't want to know it all across from me. But but in that case, for God's sakes, you're from North Jersey. You should know who CC Sabathia is. But
now I do. He plays for the Yankees. He's a pitcher. So anyway, he's with the Indians in 2002, and he's with his cousin Jomar Connors in Cleveland, and they went to a party, I guess, after one of the games or whatever, and at this party, they go back to their hotel with these two guys they met at the party, and they got held up at gunpoint and robbed of $44,000 in cash and jewelry, right?
Uh-huh.
Okay, here's the kicker. This is athletes robbing athletes here, all right? The guys that robbed them are Damon Stringer and Jamal Harris, and they were basketball stars at Cleveland State University, so there you go.
Hey, Cleveland State was always a really good mid-major basketball school.
And apparently one of these guys, or both of them, were pretty good basketball players, and so they got caught because you know who the hell they are, right? It's like
he met them in a club, and someone knew someone,
right?
And they go back, hey, let's go party back in the hotel. And then
bring these guys back to the room.
And again, that robbery wasn't random either because, they knew he had a lot of jewelry.
But I guess they didn't really plan it out unless they were stalking these guys. And it's just like
but it could be planned out as much as, oh, man, CC Sabathia's here. Yeah. Look at all the jewelry he's got on him. Right? It was jewelry that was on him. Does it give an amount?
It just says cash and jewelry, $44,000.
Yeah, so, and it could be like, oh, man, let's hang with him. We know someone. Let's go back to his room, and then we'll do the lick.
Yeah.
It'll be easy.
Yeah.
Except they know who you are, idiot.
Idiots. Well, yeah, that's probably why they were doing it. Well, but it gets better. Are you ready for this? They pled guilty to this crime of 44. Robbery at gunpoint, 44 grand. How much time do you think they would get for that? Pleading guilty.
Well, listen, depending on your record, if they've done it before, but the fact that you have a gun, you should go to prison.
For how long, you think?
If it's like, listen, I doubt it's the first. You normally don't rob someone at gunpoint. Like that is usually not your first crime. That's what I'm going to say. Right. But let's say it is. Mm-hmm. Armed robbery, all that money. I would say a plea bargain there would be prison 2 to 4 years.
Yeah, I'd say 5, right? Yeah, okay.
But it's prison, so.
They served just 1 year under a plea agreement. So that means that I'm sure
so they were light.
Sabathia was probably like, hey, he had to have some input in that.
Sure.
Because they're not going to just do that. It's probably a slam dunk case, right? I know Florida's got mandatory minimums. Like you use a gun in a
but
crime.
even don't get me started. Even that is starting to get eroded.
They can downward depart or whatever the lawyer lingo is. Okay, so 1 year. Well, this Jamal Harris guy didn't learn much of a lesson because I guess he was stopped in 2011 with $300,000 worth of marijuana in a car during a traffic stop. So, lesson was not learned. And, people want to say that, there's more to this one too. People want to say that marijuana is kind of a victimless crime. But, you talk about these robberies and stuff. A lot of times it's for large amounts of weed, cannabis, marijuana, whatever you want to call it. And so there's, and I tell people this, it's like whatever dime bag, whatever quarter bag you're smoking, puberty hits again. There's some violence attached to that weed somewhere along the line. Somebody's been robbed. Somebody's been, killed even for that weed. And back to this, according to the research, Sabathia, when they asked about it, he said he realized his mistake and owned up to it, stating it was totally my fault. There's nobody to blame but me. See, now that kind of mentality probably led to this plea agreement. He was probably maybe embarrassed or something, and he said, no, just plea it out. I was stupid, and I'll take my I'll eat that one.
I'll get on my soapbox here for a second. Just my opinion, just my 2 cents. You want to stop gun crime in this country?
No.
You commit a crime with a gun. I don't care if it's your first offense or your 10th offense. Minimum mandatory, 10 years automatically. Boom. No, the judge has no say. You go to prison for 10 years, you use a crime with a gun. Why the hell can't we just do that? I guarantee you, again, punishment for doing something. If you do not get punished for doing something, especially something as egregious as using a gun in a crime, all right, you want to say, let's go soft on the criminals. Okay, let's back it down. You use a gun in a crime, 5 years automatically prison. Yeah. You discharge that firearm in the commission of a crime, 10 years. Automatic. No say.
Yeah.
It'll quell, is that the right word? Quell gun violence. Yeah. Now, listen, for the people out there that are going to argue with me, there's always outliers. You're always going to have your crazy people, your mentally insane people, your just nut jobs that we see, and it's so tragic when we see mass shootings. I get it. I understand that. Okay, I understand where people are coming from. I do. I just don't dismiss people. But by and large, it's not the guns. It's the people. So we need to start charging people appropriately.
Well, yeah, but if they're mentally ill, there's other avenues you can put.
Correct. I'm just saying, because everyone, when I bring that point up, people always want to throw mass shootings in my face. And listen,
those are few. They're not few and far between anymore, unfortunately. But the reality of it is that the
they
violence,
are when you compare it to normal gun violence. I get what you're saying.
The violence and everything else. Yeah, I agree with you. But you have, let's not get political, but you have that Gascon guy in L.A. that's telling him, if I understand right, and if I'm wrong, tell me I'm wrong, but he's telling his assistant state attorneys or district attorneys, whatever they are over there, not to do the firearm enhancements and stuff.
Yeah,
it's like, why would you
or gang enhancements?
Yeah,
you have to do those enhancements. Yeah. I mean, it's, they're criminals. You have to punish them. So we'll get off that soapbox. So,
you have lawful gun owners, and then you have people that use guns for illegal.
During the research, I didn't know this. We came across that Tiger Woods was a victim of a robbery.
He was.
He wasn't a pro yet. It was 1994. He was a student at Stanford. Mm-hmm. Was robbed at knife point for his necklace and his watch. I never knew that. So didn't get hurt, obviously, or anything like that. It was 94, so he won the Masters in 96.
But go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was saying, I think it was just right before he became a pro, because I think he became a pro in 95. Someone will be like, you're wrong.
Yeah, he was still in Stanford when he got robbed.
I said that. You're not listening to me, but
I was.
Whatever.
But even, this is what Tiger said. People get mugged every day, and mine was just an isolated incident. I just want to move on from this, bury this in the past. I just want to get through my finals, enjoy a great Christmas, and then come back. Almost kind of that same attitude that Sabathia had. Like, hey, it's my fault, but it's not your fault, and it's not right, It's people get mugged every day. Doesn't make it right,
correct?
And you should, but that's sometimes the victim mentality is victims feel like it's their own fault, and you shouldn't feel that way. So, how about this one? We're almost done.
Go ahead, one more.
I like this one. This one was pretty funny.
All right.
It was pretty funny. If anybody ever came to you, right? If I came to you and said I have a no-fail invention, it's going to make tons of money, right?
Inventions always perk my curiosity.
Right? Tons of money. Would you be in on this? Like, it's a can't-miss invention, I think is what the term was.
Oh, that's okay.
Presented to this guy, Torrey Hunter of the Detroit Tigers in 2005.
Baseball
right?
player, Torrey Hunter, yeah.
Yes, the Tigers. I thought no, I'm just kidding.
I think he actually played for the Twins as well, but Major League Baseball players pop around.
Right.
Good
so somebody came to you and said, it's can't miss.
What year was this? Does it have a year on there? I always ask you that you don't know the year.
2009.
Okay, so not that long ago.
No. I'm gonna get you to invest in this.
Okay, what do I got to do?
Ready for this? An inflatable couch. No, I'm sorry. Let me try that again. Not an inflatable couch, because a floating inflatable couch.
So that's an invention?
Yeah.
Like, so where do you float on it?
Well, let me go a little further here, because I don't think I'm selling this right. Okay, this is probably why I don't get $70,000. If you're in a flood, it's a life raft under the couch, right? So if you're in a flood and you can inflate the life raft.
Oh, so it's not the couch is an inflatable. It's you screwed it up. So it's a raft or an inflatable thing that you sit under your couch, like in your living room.
Yeah, and then when the flood comes, you can sit on your couch and stay dry with the inflatable raft underneath.
See, now I would love to see that on Shark Tank. Yeah. See what they tell that person.
Man, I really screwed that up, didn't I? Can we try that again?
So,
no, we don't do any.
No.
We don't do any.
So, how much was the investment?
He put $70,000.
He invested in it.
Yeah, $70,000.
Who was the guy? The creator, the inventor?
Oh, it doesn't say that. I don't know.
But someone he knew went to him and said, "Give me $70,000. I have this invention."
I think it was Ron Popeil.
When a flood happens, your couch will pop up. And I listen. I love it because he probably had a little. Probably had an inflatable for the recliner, for the TV stand. Like it's endless.
Your whole living room just floats away with you.
Dining room table.
So it was an inflatable raft that would sit under furniture. Apparently the pitch was something along the lines of that, quote, that when high rainfall areas were flooded, consumers can pump up the device, allowing a sofa to float and remain dry. There you go.
Yeah, see, there's just not enough high rain areas that you would do that.
See,
at first when you mentioned it, I thought, okay, it's a couch that you inflate, and then I don't know, maybe you sit in your pool with it, or float down a river. I'm like, I could see that. I wouldn't, put that much money into it, but this makes more sense. Of like, what the hell are you doing?
The guy came back and asked for another $500,000 after the initial investment.
What was the initial?
70,000. Yeah. So.
Hey. We need to ramp up production. I need another $500,000 because these things are flying off the shelves.
Yeah, we sold 2 of them.
I'd love to. The reason why I get into Shark Tank, because I fly a lot, right, for my games. Okay. So, and I fly Delta, and Delta has TVs, and obviously on the plane. And one of the channels they get is CNBC, and Shark Tank's always on it. Yeah. So I watch so much of it in the plane, and so I love Mr. Wonderful. I'd love to see Mr. Wonderful talk to this guy about his blow up rafts to save your furniture. So
inflatable rafts.
Well, that's going to do it. That's another wrap for Professional Rookies Podcast. Again, guys, and gals, we're getting good reviews. Everybody. We love it. It helps us. We're a startup podcast, and we're getting good ratings, good reviews. So if you like what you hear, and if you're listening to us the first time, go back. We got a bunch of different shows that I think you'll enjoy. Probably some that you won't, but you find one or two you like. And then, so if you like what you hear, if you're on, any platform, but really the big one is Apple because it's on everyone's phone. If you listen to us on Apple, they have it really easy. Just give us 5-star rating. If you want to write a review, that'd be awesome too. And again, it just in that search engine keeps us moving up. And we got some things coming up in the future that I think will be cool. And one thing I talked about, Brian, I'll say it now. So when I travel for football season, I think one of the things we may do when we get there is kind of like preview the game I'm going to be doing, and then go over it and then review it after it had happened, and then preview my next game that's coming up, if that kind of makes sense, and then kind of chronicle my travels, and we'll intertwine that with some crime and sports in the middle too, and just kind of give it a little different flair, because I know when football season comes, everyone is psyched for football, especially college football. So, and I think people kind of like the inside stuff. So I'll bring you inside of my travels and broadcasts. I think that'll be kind of cool. And if that's something you don't want to hear during football season, let me know.
Me with
we won't do it.
My non-sports knowledge.